Okay, good day. This video discussion is for those who were not able to attend the class, and I'll be discussing about intangible assets. Okay, again, intangible assets are assets that are identifiable, non-monetary asset without physical substance. No, ibig sabihin, identifiable, separable siya, may economic benefit siya, and it is subject to control. At the same time, okay, without physical substance, hindi nahawakan, pero mararamdaman. Take note of that, ha? Yun yung intangible assets. Take note, importanteng separable siya, considering that there are intangible assets na pwedeng hindi siya nase-separate. For example, yung mga OS ng cellphones natin, 'di ba? The operating systems are developed, 'di ba? These are considered intangibles, but this is inseparable. Hindi siya nahihiwalay sa cellular phone or any gadget. So that's why yung OS cannot be accounted as a separate account, considering that it is inseparable to the property, plant, and equipment. Thus, it will be form part of the property, plant, and equipment. But an intangible asset can also be considered as an inventory if that intangible asset is part of the goods na binebenta natin in the normal operating activities of the business organization. Now, when to recognize an intangible asset? As what almost all assets, no, meron na recognition principle, ganun rin yung intangible assets. That, intangible asset is recognized when and only when and only if there is a probable future economic benefit that will flow to the entity, and it can be measured reliably. Take note of those requisites for us to recognize an intangible asset in the books of the entity. Now, how do we measure intangible asset? Initially, the measurement of intangible asset is similar to property, plant, and equipment, wherein the measurement shall be at cost. Well, yung cost, alam natin ito. These are the all acquisition cost. Okay? It is the acquisition price plus any directly attributable cost if these are acquired intangible assets. But if these are, developed, the recognition of cost, okay, will depending on the circumstances. Pero ito lang yung test na titignan natin. Yung part ng cost ng intangible, those only cost incurred prior to the intangible assets capability of its operation as to the manner intended by the management. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga cost after na capable na, 'di ba? After na capable na ang operation ng intangible assets will be considered as expense. If deferral naman or deferred payments yung basihan in acquiring the intangible assets, similar to property, plant, and equipment, the intangible assets shall be valued initially at its cash price equivalent. If there is no cash price equivalent, well, basically, we will look for the cash price equivalent by determining the discounted value of the future cash outflows of that deferred payments. And in case there is a difference between the cash price equivalent and the total payments or the discounted value of future cash payments, okay, or outflows, 'di ba? To the total payments, that difference shall be recognized as expense. If naman the intangible asset is acquired through the what we call business combination, the cost or the initial measurement of the intangible asset acquired through business combination shall equal to the fair value of the assets acquired in the date of acquisition. Sir, what if kung yung intangible asset internally developed siya? If these are internally developed, all directly attributable cost, okay, in the creation, production, and preparation of the said intangible asset, okay, for which those costs will make the intangible asset capable of operating as intended by the management, well, those all costs shall be considered as part of the cost of the intangible asset. So, di ba, kung internally developed yung intangible asset, merong itong research and development phase. Well, ito yung consideration natin lang. All costs incurred in the research phase are considered as expense. Yan yung rule. Pag meron pong these doubts or you cannot able to determine anymore which of those costs are considered research or which of those costs are considered development, well, the conclusion will be all costs are considered part of the research phase. Now, how about on subsequent measurement? Similar din ito sa property, plant, and equipment. Under property, plant, and equipment, we said that the subsequent measurement may be either in cost model or evaluation model. So, yun din yung gagamitin natin. If we want to subsequently measure the intangible asset, we will use the cost model or evaluation model. But take note, we cannot able to use the evaluation model in the absence of an active market to that intangible asset. Okay. Now, kung under cost model, paano natin i-determine ang subsequent measurement? Well, under cost model, we just simply determine the initial cost, then the accumulated amortization and accumulated impairment on the said intangible asset. Take note, guys, that an intangible asset is classified into two based on its life. Kasi meron po tayong intangible asset na definite yung life, meron naman indefinite yung life. Okay? Kung definite yung life, using the cost model of subsequent measurement, yung sinabi ko kanina, we will determine it by cost less accumulated amortization less accumulated impairment. Then take note that all intangible assets with definite life are subject to amortization and they are also subject to test of impairment. And then the test of impairment will only arise when there is an indication that an impairment will arise. Sir, how about if indefinite life yung intangible asset? Pag indefinite yung life ng intangible asset, take note of this, guys. There is no amortization because there is no useful life. We cannot amortize an intangible asset without a life, without a useful life, kasi indefinite nga. Ano itong mga example ng mga intangible asset with indefinite life? So, ito po yung goodwill, trademark, and perpetual franchises. But take note, even if indefinite yung life ng mga intangible assets na ito, they are subject pa rin to test of impairment for at least annually or when there is an indication that an impairment will exist. Okay. Sir, ano po ba residual value ng intangible asset if it is subject to amortization? Well, the residual value of the intangible asset generally is zero. Zero po ang residual value ng intangible asset. Unless otherwise, we can refer the residual value to a third party who can assess the residual value of the said intangible asset, or if there is an active market of that intangible asset, because we can refer the residual value to the active market provided that that active market will exist at the end of the useful life of the intangible asset. Take note of that. How do we recognize intangible asset? Yung recognition naman ng intangible asset is similar din sa property, plant, and equipment. The recognition of intangible asset, meaning tinatanggal na natin siya sa books natin or sa statement of financial position, is simple. When there is already disposal of the intangible asset, like sale of that intangible asset to other person, that is a example of disposal. Or if we know there is no future economic benefit that will flow to the entity, well, we will derecognize the intangible assets from our books. Okay, so that is the recognition. Okay, now this is an add-on discussion wherein I would like to discuss about cash generating unit. Ang cash generating unit, these are smallest identifiable assets of an identifiable group of assets, okay, that generate cash, okay, that generate cash inflows that are largely independent of an asset, okay, of a cash inflow from other assets or group of assets. Take note, the cash generating unit may be subject to impairment. When there is an impairment from the cash generating unit, there is an impairment from the cash generating unit when the recoverable amount of the cash generating unit is lesser than the carrying amount. Take note, the allocation of that, well, that's very simple. We just prorate that based on the values, no? The values of the assets composing the cash generating unit. But take note, if there is goodwill in the cash generating unit, una po nung ginagawa is pinapaubos muna kay goodwill yung impairment. Okay? Goodwill muna, and the rest doon na iproporata based on cash generating unit. Take note of that, ha? Kung may impairment loss sa cash generating unit at part sa cash generating unit is a goodwill, yung impairment loss, kukunin muna ni goodwill. I-absorb muna niya lahat. Then, whatever remains, iproprorate po yan on the remaining assets of the cash generating unit using a prorata and with the carrying amounts of those assets. Now, sir, pwede po bang magka-reversal anong impairment? Yes, there will be a reversal of impairment, meaning nag-impair ka before, ngayon nare-recover mo yung impairment recognized on the prior period. Paano po natin ito gagawin? Well, if there is a reversal of impairment loss previously recognized, yung impairment loss na yon shall be allocated to the carrying shall be allocated to those assets composing the cash generating unit, except for goodwill. Kasi once goodwill is impaired, we cannot recover it anymore. Take note, ha? Once goodwill is impaired, we cannot recover it anymore. Then, paano po natin i-allocate yung impairment? Well, prorata rin using the carrying values of those assets. But take note, ha, once we are reversing the impairment loss, make sure that the reversal will not exceed to the impairment loss recognized on the previous period. So, ibig sabihin, kung yung impairment loss mo last year or recognized na is 2 million lang, the recovery of impairment shall not go beyond the 2 million kasi that would be our limit of recovery. Okay? So, those are the important points that we need to know about intangible assets and cash generating units. Hopefully, this will help you to understand the intangible assets, and please prepare for an activity next meeting. Thank you guys. Bye!